Now, from dancing to judging, we're used to seeing her entertaining us on Saturday nights, but Alesha Dixon has got another passion in her life, and that is endangered animals.
Well, as a wildlife ambassador, she's raising awareness for some of the most incredible animals on the planet by highlighting the plight of elephant tourist traps on this World Elephant Day. And I'm sure very few people know it is World Elephant Day, Alesha. What is it that's got you? What is it particularly that you want to highlight here?
Well, I've worked alongside World Animal Protection for a long time now, and about 3.5 years ago, I travelled out to Thailand with them, and we looked into behind the scenes to see the conditions that the elephants were living in. And sadly and unfortunately, it's not good. The elephants go through terrible suffering and cruelty for people to see them in shows, for people to ride them. And, you know, fortunately, the good news is that since that trip to Thailand, there has been an increase in awareness. 240 travel companies around the globe have signed their elephant-friendly pledge and have agreed to end the sale and promotion of elephant rides, because I think the public are waking up to it. There is an increasing demand for ethical tourism now.
Yeah, and there's a new report out today, actually, from World Animal Protection, saying that bathing elephants is now taken over as a top bucket list experience, because it seems such a beautiful thing to do when you see footage of people bathing elephants. You know, they're up close. It just looks wonderful. So what should people be concerned about?
I think it's really important to highlight this because the public have now got a greater awareness of the cruelty associated with the rides and the shows. It's important to highlight that if you can be close to an elephant, if you can have interaction with an elephant, including bathing, washing them, having a selfie, then unfortunately there will have been some cruelty that's taken place. So what we want to highlight today to people that love animals and respect animals is that if you want to see them, do it from an observational point of view. Look into the sanctuaries that you're visiting. Of course, the best way to see an elephant is in the wild, safely and responsibly. But if you do go to a sanctuary, you have to do your work and make sure that there's non-breeding policies, that you can't get up close to an elephant, and that it's more educational. Because for you to be close to a wild animal that's not living as they would in their natural habitat, then of course submission and abuse has taken place for that to happen.
You're learning from your own mistakes. I mean, we see you here in this footage doing things the right way, but also you find yourself, you know, like anybody else on a day trip, and you think, well, you're supposed to think, that's nice, but it troubled you, didn't it?
Yes, so that's how it all started for me. I went on holiday with my family many years ago to Thailand, and I love elephants so much. We went to this venue, and I saw these elephants playing football, and instinctively, something didn't feel right. And I sat there so sad the whole time because I could see the poles that have these iron spikes, which they call the ball hooks. And I could see the mahouts or the owners using them on the elephants, and I could see the blood on the forehead of the elephant. And I just felt so sad. And I vowed that day I would never go to one of those venues again. And the only reason I went back 3.5 years ago was to document what happens behind the scenes.
And what does happen? Tell us what happens. I mean, are they taking young elephants away from the mothers? Because I'm assuming if you're doing that kind of training to get them to kick a football, or I think you said walk a tightrope, one of them, that's got to be happening to young elephants, surely.
Yes, so a lot of the elephants in these venues are either taken from their mothers from the wild when they're young, or they're bred in captivity. And as I said, they use these horrific ball hooks to train them. They basically crush their spirits. You know, elephants are like us. You know, they feel things. They have emotions too. They're very, very intelligent beings. And so they become so afraid of the mahouts that they basically become submissive and do whatever they're asked to do because they're in fear. And in between shows, they're shackled, they don't have any freedom. And it's just, we cannot support that. We cannot, you know, the more people go to these venues, we are fueling the demand, which perpetuates the cruelty, and it's a vicious cycle which we need to stop.
Yeah.
How blessed or how puny do you feel close up to an elephant? I mean, in the course of our work, Ruth and I have been able to be up close with elephants, and I find it an incredibly spiritual experience.
They are
really
the most amazing
The
creatures.
size of the head, the size of their eyes.
Yeah, you almost don't feel worthy of being in their presence. You know, it's like they're so magnificent and special. And for me, as an animal lover, there is no greater rush than seeing an animal do what it's naturally supposed to do.
Yeah.
I don't feel worthy of being able to touch an elephant. You know, giraffes recently at Safari Park, and of course, the first thing you want to do is reach out and touch them, but respectfully, no, you allow them to do what feels comfortable for them and you respect their boundaries.
Now, I'm going to read a response from the World Animal Protection Organisation, and then I want you to tell me what, because a lot of people will be watching and they'll say, well, we go to a zoo or we go to a safari park to see elephants, or indeed we had one of these holidays planned. But the World Animal Protection Organisation says, ideally wild animals should be in the wild, but when that's not possible, and if managed correctly, wild animals in certain modern zoos and wildlife sanctuaries can play a vital role in conservation and care of threatened and confiscated wildlife. However, zoos and sanctuaries should not exploit wild animals and use them as entertainment. Right, so basically there are conditions in which World Animal Protection say, yes, that's okay, and therefore for people it's okay to go and visit them because there's a greater good. What would you say to people who are in a dilemma and say, but we were going to that safari park or that zoo or that holiday?
Well, the thing is, it's very difficult to transition elephants back into the wild that have grown up in captivity. So the best thing we can do, and what World Animal Protection are doing so brilliantly, is helping these venues transition to what we're calling high welfare venues. And that means that the priority of the elephant and the welfare of the elephant is put first. And therefore, coming back to what I said before, non-breeding policies, more of an educational experience and more of an observational experience. Now, if you do your research before you go to those venues, that's what you want to look out for. If you're still unsure, then of course there's lots of charities that you can contact that will advise you on the best ones to go to.
Talking about health and welfare, your colleague and friend, Simon Cowell, most awful accident. You must have been absolutely terrified for him. Broke his back. He's had a 6-hour operation. Have you spoken to him or his family? How is he now?
I've spoken with Laura, keeping me updated. I've not been able to stop thinking about them all. It's absolutely horrific. We're all devastated and worried about Simon, but you know, the positive thing is that he's in good spirits, and Lauren says that, you know, slowly he's on the mend. So I've got all my fingers and toes crossed that come the live shows for Britain's Got Talent, we can hopefully have Simon on a live link, because we love him.
Yeah. We'll be the same with that. Talking about the live shows, I mean, what's happening with that? Have you got absolute confirmation when that's going to be?
So we start filming the live shows at the end of the month. I can't wait to get back with the gang and just do something light-hearted, fun, terribly.
Will you have an audience, do you know?
Virtual audience, I'm being told.
Okay.